So let me pick up on your thought. The conversation now is about not just going viral, but being effective, but also being ethical. What do you understand by that in your practice, in your work?
So I mean, it's always good to use, we were having this discussion earlier. You get bad viral and you get good viral. Someone that's done something ridiculous and they've gone viral. And then you get the good viral, which is what we do every day of our lives, to basically use ethical discussions, ethical storytelling to get the message out there and to show the world what's going on. Very much like what we're doing on Scene Palestine. So, we're putting out viral content by showing people the reality of what's happening in the ground, um, you know, being ethical in our reporting so that the world gets to see these visuals themselves, and that can lead to change and bring about an impact in
Okay.
society.
Your thoughts on that? Just understanding being ethical, yeah?
Um, I tried to express that in the
Mm.
presentation, but like ensuring that with your values, aligning your values or our values with the work that we do. Like I know, like when it comes to viral marketing, it has very many negative connotations, but it all depends on how and why you do it.
What about, maybe I'll start with the point that you make that, often we say bad news sells,
Mhm.
actually. That's the use of social media and digital forms of communication compared to traditional would be newspapers, right?
Yes.
And that evolved into radio and then television and everything else. Has that changed this notion of, bad news only sells?
Well, not really. Okay, yes, in every newsroom that you work in, bad news is sort of the recipe for a successful story. But I mean, the way the world is changing, and I think with the way that social media has transformed and the type of content that you see online, it's not just about the bad news anymore. Like, there are a lot of viral stories, a lot of viral content about people doing amazing things to make a difference in the world that still perform extremely well online, you know? So it's not just about the bad news anymore because of social media and, the visual aspect and the visual storytelling of it. There are other kinds of stories and content that still has the potential to go viral, even though it's not bad news.
Okay. And your thoughts on that? I know you touched on it in your presentation,
hmm
but just this notion of good news, bad news, in terms of sending out a different type of message.
So when it comes to like just something I'm noticing lately is everyone is fleeing Twitter because like oh there's so much bad happening there, but time's up. But um, without us being there, spreading the good news, it's only going to be bad news. So it's like a lot of people are leaving places instead of changing what can be in a place, especially on social media.
So the point that was brought up, I think from Ismail maybe at the outset, which was that, you let's say you have a motor car, you can use that for different purposes. So the same applies to technology, right? So if certain platforms are more toxic than others, it's up to you to get onto the platforms and evolve the platform. But the truth is, what those platforms have in common is they have audience, right? And that's critical because if you have a message, even a good message, and I've certainly watched many of the work from Scene TV on regarding Palestine, right? Um, and that message, is not available. I come from mainstream media. It's not available with any degree of frequency on social media, on mainstream media. So the point is that if you create the relevant content, but linked to that is to grow the audience. So you have to maintain audience, right?
Definitely. I mean, I think whether you're using, and we know with like what's happening with the shadow banning and thing that's happening on Meta, like we spoke about earlier, and all of these other platforms, you need to maintain consistency as well in your publishing, so that you can actually overcome what some of these social
How,
media
how do you
networks.
overcome? I mean, shadow banning. I've certainly seen even on my social media platform, some
So
things
what?
are there's just a less frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we notice is that the more we publish, the more something can get out there and there's less shadow banning on our platforms. So we just keep it consistent. Like we make sure we publish every single day on those platforms. And like we found like in recent months, the shadow banning hasn't been as bad compared to when we initially started covering stories out of Gaza.
Okay. Here's a question, and again, feel free to post it. Just use that QR code to do that. How do you market good news and mobilize communities to pursue good actions and make it go viral. Rafiq, you want to go for that?
Going viral, I think she is the
Yeah.
expert.
But I mean, here's the part.
But
How do you market good news? Yeah.
so, so there are various ways and means just that go beyond social media, right? Like if I think about the majority of us start our journey on Google, we search for things, and being ensuring that the content we produce on the websites, no matter what type of news it is, it can actually be found, I think is the first step, because at least 2/3 of people who are going to interact with your content online is going to come from Google or from a Google ad. It's like, yes, we can touch and feel social media, but if we look at the data, and it's something I didn't get to because I ran out of time, the data shows that at least 2/3 of South Africans are on Google all the time. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up because time is an issue. Just the last thing, and Nabeelah, thanks for the great input that you put in terms of the how to. I've certainly made notes about it, right? But just moving beyond that, because you made the point at the end, and you spoke about business form of collaboration. So people, businesses and people who businesses collaborate with in the tech space, right? When they say we want our business to go viral, we want our brand message to go viral, which is not the same as a normal current affairs news thing. I mean, can it be done? Is it being done?
Definitely. I mean, if you've been following TikTok, right, there are so many businesses out there that are going viral by using those 3 points that we spoke about. There's a bed company in Durban that has millions of views on their videos because of the satire, the comedy, the way they actually market their products. So there is a method to it. I mean, you find lots of businesses going viral online, but it's all about how they produce those videos and how they put it
Okay,
out
so
there.
big responsibility there. And here's the last thing, and it's maybe a link to this, and you can both can decide, and we'll wrap up. Are there specific steps to success in building an online community? So this is not the platform, but the actual community, right? Maybe through a platform such as Twitch, that would then lead to frequent organic viral content creation. Who wants to go for it? Or both of you, if you have any
You can
thoughts
go
on that?
first.
So I'm going to be 100% honest. I am, my specialty is not really going viral, but more sustainable growth. So I'm not the best person to answer the question. I'm not going to give my opinion because it won't be
Okay.
based on it.
Shall we pause? And
Yeah,
you want to do that? Go
please.
ahead.
So
Yeah.
I think two things: consistency and content is key. If you want to maintain that kind of audience, if you want to build community, you have to be consistent and you have to provide good content, and that will keep your audience drawn in, basically.
Okay, fascinating.